For the final seat, seat 11, we have Judge Darren Jackson and Judge, is it Stading or Stading? Stading. Yes. I apologize. Judge Michael Stading. Good morning. Good morning. Judge Jackson appears on the first on the ballot and for this seat, so he will speak first.
And I actually know the answer to your question about how the ballot order, so if anybody wants to know, I can explain it. It involves ping pong balls and a coin flip.
It is, yeah.
I'm Judge Darren Jackson from North Carolina Court of Appeals. For 25 years, I was in trial practice in Wake County. For 8 of those years, it was actually with Chief Judge Stroud. Little known fact, we have one small Zebulon law firm that's got 2 Court of Appeals judges serving. For 12 years, I also served in North Carolina General Assembly, and then for the last 18 months, I have been on the Court of Appeals. I've enjoyed the job, written approximately a little bit over 100 opinions by now. We've been a little slower due to COVID, I think, but stayed very busy. I've written, I think I'm on my 12th or 13th dissent. I think that's very important, depending on your version of things. Mine is, if I don't agree with the majority's reasoning, I'll write a dissent. When I was in trial practice, I had a very big case that ultimately we prevailed in the North Carolina Supreme Court, but the only reason why we won that case in the Supreme Court is because Judge Bob Hunter took the time to write a dissent in the Court of Appeals. And so I always remember that, and I take the time to write those dissents. If I don't agree, I think that's the purpose of our review, and then ultimately the Supreme Court makes the final decision. So thank you for having me here today.
Judge Stading?
That's it. Yeah. Hey, when you have a name like Stading, you really don't worry what people call you. I'm sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I'm still in the trenches. I'm a district court judge in Mecklenburg County, and we're a little bit short-staffed at the moment, so I have to be in there. Actually, I had double duty, 2 different courtrooms yesterday, so I'm delighted to be here. I come from a little town called Mint Hill outside of Charlotte, still in Mecklenburg County. I started my career out in general practice, and after about a year, I figured out that's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in a courtroom doing litigation, wanted to be where the fun is, and setting up strategy, figuring out how to win cases, and quickly found that I needed to be in the prosecutor's office in Mecklenburg County. So I did everything you could do there for about 6 years, and at the end there, I got my specialization in criminal law, and then I went and started my own practice. So I got to operate my own business, which I found to be a lot of fun, and got to get to the other side of the courtroom, representing people accused in the criminal courtroom. And in the middle of that, about 2 or 3 years into that, I decided I wanted to join the United States Air Force. My wife looked at me like I was about half crazy because we had 3 kids, and I was going off to commissioned officer training school to do that. And that gave me an opportunity to get in federal court. Done it from the civilian side and then from the military side as well. 2018 ran to be a district court judge, and I've gotten to do just about everything you could do in a district courtroom. Includes criminal, civil, the special courts that we handle. Absolutely enjoy every aspect of that. I'd encourage anybody in here to talk to your colleagues in Mecklenburg County, because I'm sure a bunch of them appeared in front of me in civil court, and I'd be honored for you to get their opinion. Appreciate y'all letting me be here today. I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far. Thank you.
Over time, the Court of Appeals has seated a lot of former legislatures like you, Judge Jackson, and a lot of former district court judges like you, Judge Stading. Our lawyers do not regularly appear in district court and before the legislature, and therefore we do not have the same understanding of your judicial philosophy as we might with a superior court judge. Please share with our organization what, in your experience, should make us comfortable with you on the bench. Judge Jackson.
So thank you for that. A lot of experience doing a lot of what you do. Being in civil courtrooms around the state. I think one of the unique things is when you are from a small town in eastern North Carolina practicing law, you get out and about and you see how Superior Court judges do it in Wake County and how they do it in Nash County and how they do it in Darren County, and it's a lot different, and I realize that. I also have a lot of experience doing other things that may not be of special interest to you, but I think it's very important for a judge on the Court of Appeals in that I've done small claims. I've done a lot of appellate work in front of both the North Carolina Court of Appeals, the North Carolina Supreme Court, the Fourth Circuit. I've done federal jury trials, both civil and criminal, complex litigation, done all the discovery disputes, the expert disputes. I've done all that. In addition to that, I do have the experience of being 12 years as the legislature, and I often am asked, what do I believe the legislative intent behind a statute was? And I think I bring that unique perspective of knowing how that process really works behind the scene. I'll tell you that I currently, I have seen cases where I had a clerk ask me about the legislative intent and say, I'm thinking this statute is designed to be like this statute, has this language. You think we should read that into this? And I said, no. And she looked at me, she was like, no, you seem very clear. I was like, yeah, there was actually an amendment on the floor to that particular bill that passed with that particular language in it that the General Assembly actually voted down. And that's probably something that nobody would have ever known except I happened to be there and remember these things. So I think it brings a great amount of experience in all the types of cases that we see in the Court of Appeals.
Thank you, Judge Jackson.
So as to that two-part question, judicial philosophy, I'm clearly a textualist informed by originalism. And so it's black and white. Just calling balls and strikes unemotionally, at times making decisions that maybe you don't like to make or maybe you don't agree with, but again, calling balls and strikes. I've actually been fortunate in that before we were in pandemic mode in Mecklenburg County, we had a lot of civil jury trials going on with car wrecks, with plaintiffs and defense civil work. And it was kind of fun as a district court judge when you get to step into that superior court role just for a minute and get to give jury instructions and sit there and watch the players of the game do their job. So I've had experience with that. And again, some of your colleagues, I believe, have been in front of me. And even when we're in pandemic mode, we kept going with WebEx motions, and there are just so many of those that go every day in my county, and I've gotten to preside over those, and I've really enjoyed that as well. So there is, maybe while there's not necessarily a record to go and read, I would highly encourage you to go talk to your colleagues and just ask what they thought about my job, my work ethic, my decision making, and what I did with those cases. Thank you very much.
Thank you both.